Well, for anyone who was expecting that we might just end up getting a bit of a thrilling result in the warm up match which India were playing against Leicestershire, well, you're in for a little bit of disappointment in that regard because the match has finished just a little while back. In fact, it finished as we were bringing you updates from the India versus Ireland match and discussing that and previewing that. And the match has ended in a bit of a damn squib, if I have to use that term, and that's because the match finished in a draw. So obviously, as we know that yesterday when we were discussing, we saw towards the end of the match that India had built up a lead of 366 runs, and that they would indeed be. Looking to declare maybe once they got to 400, but that wasn't necessarily the case. They declared on their overnight score itself and sent Leicestershire out to bat. Remember, 364 for 9 was where they were yesterday, and they ended the day on 369 as well. They ended up declaring, and bus they ended up telling the to answer your question once again, no, the result does not in fact matter because it's a warm-up game. The entire point of this match was that the match would be giving the players some time to acclimatize to what are obviously conditions that they were not playing in for a while, because a lot of their matches were all happening in India. So obviously they need to be getting ready for what was an interesting test match, because of course we know that it's a continuation of yesterday's match going on. And so they did have to try and get ready for that match, and that was the main reason that they were playing this. So the result as such doesn't really matter. But of course, what would be a little bit frustrating if you are the Indian team was that they didn't really get enough wickets, because again Leicestershire were playing for the draw obviously, and they only ended up losing 4 wickets in that second and final innings. They in fact ended it at 219 for 4, having played out 66 overs. So that can tell you one of two things: either the Indian bowlers were lacking just a little bit of zip, or of course the fact could be that the pitch had become a little easier to bat on. So that was be one reason. Sarthak, hi to you. I am good. Hello, Naman Jain. Good to see you guys. Shashank, to answer your question, I don't really know who the captain would be for the test match. We were talking about it earlier. I would like to see Bumrah, but of course we could be seeing Kohli if they decide to go down that route as well. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. The warm-up game has finished, so if you have to ask me what are the major takeaways from it, I'd say, of course, the fact is that the guys got to play 4 full days out there. So of course, if you're talking about acclimatization to conditions, the longer you're playing in such a situation, it's always better for uh, the US players, because you want to be out there playing with the red ball, you want to be out there in swinging conditions, you want to be out there against teams who are at least of decent level, and you want to be batting. You want to be batting out as long as possible when you are out there. So the thing is, well, they got that chance. That's the best part about this entire warm up, is that they managed to go through all 4 days. Of course, a result, as you know, would have been nice. It would have been a bit of an ideal thing in that regard. But it's a warm up game, so there's no real surety that the win in the warm up game actually matters. In fact, I don't know if you guys caught that dugout episode which we did, where I had said that warm up games, you're basically treating them as just practice, extended glorified practice, and little else. So Uh, Escape has something very hilarious to say, saying that the way that the match was played, even Sports Thugs Red versus Blue was more professional. Well, I mean, to be fair, I think you're selling the Indian players a little short. But of course, as I said, this match was solely for practice. I mean, you saw it in the fact that so many Indian players were turning out for Leicestershire. Quite a few players ended up batting twice, some even thrice. So the whole purpose of this is not so much a competitive game as it was practice, in terms of getting these players acclimatized to the conditions, get them used to playing test cricket, playing longer runs, and of course also maybe uh, getting into the groove of things, or figuring out potentially what your 11 could be. Obviously, Rohit's absence kind of makes that a bit of a complicated matter, but we were discussing earlier that they have a simple ready-made solution in Hanuma Vihari. Obviously, the major thing was that whether it would be Vihari or Shreyas Iyer, but now with no Rohit there, it seems very much that it would be both of them playing. As Vanshjan points out, the warm-up match was boring, but which warm-up match isn't? Most of them are just that. So obviously, you're not going to see much in the way of excitement and entertainment. But what you do get to see, if you've bothered tuning in, as I know all of you guys and me have, is that you get to see how it is that these guys are getting through the motions, how it is that they're preparing for the matches. So in that sense, I think if you're talking about the preparation side of things, couldn't have gone much better for India. They got to play out 4 full days, and they got to spend some time out in the middle, which is always a quality thing in such a matters. Is the most important thing, I would say, that you want to be out there in the middle. So in that sense, mission accomplished as far as this match goes. Obviously, as I said, we would have liked to see a result, but I mean, you can't really say what exactly is going to happen. It's a warm up match. So, again, results don't really matter. What matters is that the team do seem prepared. They looked okay for the most part, even though in the early parts there were obviously some struggles, some rustiness. Remember, a lot of these top players haven't been playing for a while. So, in that sense, but as the match went on, you could see that they became way more comfortable in their surroundings. So, that's the good thing. And obviously, I think that would be it in terms of an update on this particular match. It would have been a lot more fun discussing it with you guys if we, actually ended up getting a result. But such is the nature of warm up matches. So thank you all for joining us. Don't forget, we have India Ireland going on as well, although that match, for obvious reasons, i.e., rain, hasn't quite started yet. But we will keep you updated on that, and we'll be here to discuss it with you guys, our family members, when that match is happening. So do join us for that. Thank you all again for joining us. Bye bye.